Hey, this Omar, just on here real quick, doing a recap of the Chargers Jags wild card game. One of the games that people gonna look back and this was one of Trevor Lawrence's coming out parties. Phenomenal game by Trevor Lawrence. The fact that he was able to not be like deterred by how poor of a first half that he had, and he was able to lock in and kind of like he got the goods. You know what I'm saying? He coming from that Andrew Luck type of cloth. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow type of cloth, where he still feel that he got a shot to win the game, and it showed it. Uh, first half, just terrible, bunch of turnovers. And, you know, typically when a dude play like that, they kind of, they sink in and they really can't get it back. They might be able to throw for a bunch of yards, but they don't really have a team back in the game. But, him, Doug Peterson, Dougie P, like Shannon be saying, they they got the fucking win. I mean, defense came alive in the second half. And the fact that they was able to get the game back without getting a turnover, like that's you gotta give them a ton of credit. Like you normally, in order to get the game back, you gotta get a turnover or something. Like I mean, well, the game versus Minnesota, I think Minnesota only got one turnover in the second half when they came back versus Indy. But the fact that Jacksonville didn't even get a turnover and was able to literally walk the Chargers down was, it was a thing of beauty. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this coming from a Chargers fan. You know what I'm saying? Like I was literally looking at the game, talking to one of my homies, and I was like, he talking shit, saying, yeah, the game over and shit. I'm like, the shit ain't over because I done seen these people walk the Cowboys down when they was up 27-10 in Jacksonville. Like these folks, they a young team. And the cool thing about being young, where all you gotta feel is we just gotta get one and just take it a score by score. When they scored before the half was over with, they was like, all right, we can score on this defense, right? Because before nothing was working. But before the half, they they put some plays together, scored on the defense, and said, all right, we might got something. When they was talking to Doug Peterson was like, still cool. We gonna still do our thing, run our offense, and everything's all right. I mean, he a phenomenal coach. I give him props. He's um he a top 10 coach, and it might be even higher than just top 10. You know what I'm saying? Because he he got a way of getting across that yeah, we straight. Don't worry about it. And then he got this is the best talent that he worked with as a whether it was a quarterback coach or you know what I'm saying or OC or a coach. This is the best that he done got. And he got a guy that can throw every pass on the money. Yeah, the interceptions, the Charger defense made some tremendous plays to get the turnovers and to get to get the score to be in 27-7. But if you really look at the game, like it was a lot of the interceptions and led to short fields that the Chargers had to go to score points. They didn't march the field like how the Jags had to do, right? So because of that, the Jags had more confidence. And so as soon as they did that drive and going into the third quarter, and so the Chargers decided to go conservative. They wasn't aggressive. They was just as aggressive as they were on defense in the first half. They were supposed to be the same way on offense in the second half, and they wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't push the ball down the field. You can't keep fucking throwing the ball to the goddamn running back, doing all these dumbass screen passes, thinking that you gonna fucking move the chains and shit. Like these boys, once they scored the touchdown, they scored the second one. They more amped up because the energy they zapped the energy out of the stadium and shit. So once you started trying to do that shit and you didn't push the ball down the field, a ton of three and outs. You know what I'm saying? Even though the Chargers was 8 and 17 on third down, and it what makes this win even more phenomenal. The Jags was 2 of 10 a third on third down. You know what I'm saying? And they still got the dub or whatever. Like I mean, typical Charger shit. Typical Charger shit. So, but I'm gonna lean more to. I'm gonna lean more to the Jags positives or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do a different video pertaining to the Chargers, but I'm gonna go on all positive Jags. And Trevor Lawrence, he was 28 of 47, 288 yards, four touchdowns, four interceptions, shit that you rarely see. He got sacked only two times. NCN, he had 20 carries for 109 yards, 25 was the longest. Uh, all the dudes that they need to make plays made plays. Evan Ingram, he had 7 for 93 in the touchdown. Christian Kirk had 8 of 78 for a touchdown. Zay Jones had 8 for 74 in the touchdown, and then Marvin Jones had 3 of 29 for a touchdown. So all the dudes that they mainly gonna count on a week to week basis scored a touchdown, right? So then, as far as sacks, uh, tr- you know, uh, Travion Walker, man, he ain't really flown off the screen too much this year, but he had two QB hits and he had a half a sack, right? Altogether, the Jags had three sacks. Josh Allen got one. That was in the first half. And then, yeah, I think it was in front. And then Roy Robertson Harris, he got a sack. So the Jazz defense is pass defense. You can pass the ball on them. They got a better run defense and whatnot. But it was great performance, man. Like I said, I had a ton of problems. When Doug Peterson was out there, he's a great coach, and so I was like, in my head, I was like, anybody who get him is gonna get a good coach. He was motivating Philly, and he had them in a perennial playoff team. And then he also got a Super Bowl under his cap. So, he feel like, yeah, you know, basically the Chargers was sweet. So he basically said what he said at the half, and then hey man, the boys started getting revved up, started scoring the touchdown here. Get them off the field here. Next thing you know, it's 20-30. And so you was like, fucking Chargers ain't doing shit. But I see the Jazz, they got the momentum back. So the momentum swung and it led to Jazz pulling off a great win. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as like Trevor Lawrence's beginning of his playoff career, it was a great win that we saw, that we witnessed or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like he got that DNA, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? What? He beat Alabama and whatnot. The only time he got embarrassed was, I think it was LSU, right? I mean, LSU definitely beat the shit out of their ass, but I want to say, did Ohio State do the same to them too? think Ohio State did them fucked up too in the in the first round. I gotta look back on that, but I think Ohio State also got their ass too and whatnot right before he was about to be out the door and stuff like that. But yeah, he won the game. And it's gonna be curious to see how tomorrow shake out. You feel me? Because if two and three win, then if Cincinnati win and Buffalo win, then the low seed Jazz gonna go to KC or whatever. So it's gonna be interesting because they played each other earlier this year, and this Jags team might be a little different than the one they beat. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, Doug Peterson, for some reason, he had that sauce because, like, I remember when they beat Chicago a couple of years back when he was the coach of Philadelphia. And then in that game versus New Orleans, and in the second round, this was the year I think after they won the championship, and Nick Foles was the quarterback, and they had a chance to win that game, and it was like a fluke ass turnover where like Philadelphia was driving the field and they got this like bullshit ass turnover, and that made it to where Philly lost that game. But had they not had that turnover, it was possible that he was going to take Philly back to the NFC championship game, like back to back years or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna give all the props in the world to the Jags. Jazz fans, they experience a lot of hard times, ever since the game, that game versus Tom Brady, and they was up 21-10, and Tom Brady walked them down and shit. So it's been a couple of years. They had to rebuild after that. And so now the crew they have right now, they they got something special, possibly. If Tennessee doesn't get a quarterback, or Indy don't get a quarterback, it's possibility they could run that division for the next couple of years. So this just the beginning for them. But yeah, you give them all the props in the world for the phenomenal win that they were able to get tonight. All right, thanks for listening.